three things that changed my life is like one skill set.
Okay.
Like develop a skill that's valuable to the market, right? Focus on that skill. Don't try to deviate. As you see, a lot of ups and downs in my journey.
Yeah.
And it's all because I lost focus from my one main thing.
Right.
Or my one main skill. Right? That's there. And then two is networking.
Welcome back to another episode of Entrepreneur Unleashed. Today in the studio, I'm joined by Josue Pena, and he's going to be sharing his story, his background, and some tips and tricks to get you to the next level. I'm so excited that you're here. Once again, my name is Edward Collins, and you know, if you've been following me, that my belief, I have the strong belief that the quickest way to shortcut your journey of success is to learn vicariously through others. So that's what we're going to do right now. Let's jump in. Josue, thank you so much for being here. It's definitely an honor to have you here. I looked a little bit into your story, and I'm looking forward to learning a lot more by having this conversation with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's always an honor and a pleasure when I get invited to stuff like this, so I appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, the whole point of this show is essentially to give other business owners the opportunity to learn vicariously through the trials and the triumphs of business owners who have attained now some milestones of success. And that definitely qualifies you. I mean, I've been looking a little bit into your story, but for those who don't know you, let's talk a little bit about what you're doing right now. Like what is Josue like focused on? What's your business like?
Yeah. So today, well, there's multiple different facets. Like you probably have like 80 different things going on at the same time. But today we have, I'm building a software company that has a payment processor built in on the back end as well. That's with a partner called Anthony Powell. He has been in the industry for like 25 years. Okay. That's that. Then we have a full service agency, right? So for typically personal brands and course creators who want to scale, it's called eScaler. Okay. And then obviously I have my personal brand that people know, Online CEOs, where we sell coaching programs, courses, and obviously done for you services too.
That's Online CEO.
Online CEOs, correct. Okay. So that's the main three things. That's pretty much it. The reason why the software is into play is because I was sending everybody to ClickFunnels and Go High Level. Yes. And getting commissions is cool, but I'm building no equity.
Build your own.
Yeah. So partner up with Anthony Powell to launch that. It's called Drizio. Okay. We're finalizing the stages of that piece right there. And yeah, that's pretty much the full scope of it, I think.
Interesting. Well, I'm curious about Drizio. Like, what is it going to be?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm sure you've seen this. So, ClickFunnels is great for funnels only.
Yes.
Right. The membership portal, it's kind of meh. Like, Go High Level is great for agencies and copy pasting and stuff like that. It does a lot of great things, but it's like missing a couple other ones. So, I wanted to build and I had to custom code a bunch of stuff because my background is electrical engineering. So that's why I graduated from in DR. Okay. So I had to custom code a lot of things, and I know most people can't do that. And then for the LMS or the learning management software or the membership platform per se, it was clunky to say the least. Right? Kajabi's there, it's great, but it's still not to the par where you actually want it to be, and the community is also not to the par where it should be. Right. Obviously, there's school from Sam Ovens, it's great, but in my opinion, it's like missing some things that I want. There's Circle, Meta Networks, there's a ton.
Yeah, there's a lot of them out there.
Yeah, but like for me specifically, I was like trying to fill something specifically for me, and also with the payment processor aspect of things, because as you know, Stripe shuts you down. All the payment processing companies, you see them, and I don't know if you've seen the statements.
Well, I think the challenge with merchant accounts in general is that it's outside of your control.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can get shut down pretty much for almost anything.
Exactly. So, and if you see the statements, you're getting charged a buttload of like different fees that you have no idea what they are. So I didn't like that. So Anthony Powell, known him since 2019, he's been in the industry 25 years. He owns his own merchant. He processes like $15 billion a year. Okay. And then he has this platform that was like, bro, like why didn't you just let me like go out there and sell it? Right. Because it was very, very good and up to par to what I wanted. Okay. Right now it's like still being built because I'm like, this needs to have XYZ for me to like actually push it very hard. Okay. But anyways, that's like full scope of what that is. So yeah.
Okay. So looking at where you are today, though, it wasn't always like this. No. I mean, I know that your story is pretty varied. Let's go back in time a bit. Like, tell me about like how you grew up. Like, tell me about where you got started. Because you're not from the United States. You're from Dominican Republic.
Correct.
Near and dear to my heart. I love Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
Just tell me a little bit about what the young Josue was like.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm an only child. Okay. Born and raised in DR. I moved to the States when I was like 21, 22. Okay. So today is like 8 years ago. And I'm only child because my mom had health issues or complications.
Okay.
Not because she wanted to. So the way I grew up, my dad is an electromechanical engineer.
Okay.
My mom is an industrial engineer. So grew up, obviously roof over my head, food and clothes, but it wasn't like lavish.
Right.
I remember once a month, maybe, we will go to the movies to see one movie.
Oh,
right?
okay.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And then back then there was soda that was called Chupi Chupi. I don't know if
Oh,
like,
yeah,
like
I know.
the little fat kid.
Yeah, I remember that.
In the logo. So once a week, I will have one of those. It was tiny like this. And once a week, my parents will have one beer.
Okay.
Because that was pretty much all we could afford for like fun, if you will.
Right.
And then twice a month we will have like ice cream. We'll go out like one cone, and that's how I grew up. I love my parents to death. My dad worked very, very hard from like 8 a.m., 7 a.m. to very late at night, and I saw that, and from a very early age, I was like, I don't want this.
Right.
So I don't know how I was gonna make it, but or do. I really didn't. But I was like, I don't want this.
Right.
So like I knew what I didn't want. And that's kind of how I grew up.
Sometimes it's the most powerful thing, though.
Yeah.
Knowing what you don't want helps push you in the direction of the things you do.
Yeah, and I never liked school. Even though I was very, very good at school. My mom was like beat me with a broom, pretty much. If I got bad grades, I remember like one day I got an 89.
Okay.
On the monthly report card or whatever, and they whooped me.
They took you to town, huh?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So like I had to get.
This was the standard they set for you.
Yeah, I had to get above a 95 or whatever it was, and to get an like A++. You know. So anyways, that's how I grew up. Very strict household. I'm super grateful for that because that built me into a home today. My parents are still together, so very great family values, relationship wise, all that stuff. But on the finance aspect, I knew what I didn't want. Right. Thank God, like as time progressed, my father became more successful. He built his own business, but then Haiti earthquake happened, what we were talking about like a second ago. And he literally, like, we come from a very church background. He's a pastor. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to go missions.
Help. Yeah,
missions.
go help.
So by that point, he was building a very successful business in DR, like starting to build. He was making like $200,000 a year in DR, which is
huge.
Which is, a ton of money. Because like he was working for the main manufacturer, Home Depot in DR, which is Ochoa.
Okay.
And he would go to China and like bring products and all that stuff. So like he started becoming very successful in like the last couple years, and he had a very good business model with like air conditioners and like all these different things. Anyways, but Haiti happened.
Yes.
And he was like, you know what? I don't care about money. He's the one person I can say like he does not give
literally
a flying F about money at all. Okay. But he went all into helping people in Haiti, and I saw all that. It was, for me, it was crazy, and it was like very impactful. So he will come home and like have food on the table and like cry because the kids in Haiti wouldn't have food. So every week, Wednesday night, we will go to let's just say Sam's Club or Publix over there. It was called Price Mart. In DR, and we'll buy a full truck. Like he will buy a full truck of food and go deliver it in Haiti every week, and he will stay in Haiti for a week and then come back. Anyways, that's how I grew up. So I know like the sacrifice of giving, and like I'm so grateful. That's how I grew up, and that's what I saw because it gives you a very different perspective on life.
Well, values are instilled in children as young as pretty much by the age of 8. A lot of experts say. So the fact that you grew up in a family that valued the concept of giving, that valued the concept of hard work, that valued the concept of literally like becoming an intellectual, like learning your stuff and knowing your stuff and holding you accountable to it. And that's amazing because a lot of people don't have that. A lot of people don't grow up in that type of ecosystem. Yeah. You did. And that, like you said, that's probably what has led you to be the success that you are today. Yeah.
I was a rebel too, though. Okay. It's like they were very strict. So I didn't like that, obviously. Yeah, I would literally fight all the time. Okay. So like fight in school, and I got expelled for kicking somebody's tooth out from a kick.
Oh my goodness.
Full story, long story short, like full circle. Today he works for me.
Okay.
It's pretty funny. So we're good friends. But I got expelled, and that led me to go into a bilingual school and learn English, which today obviously serves me well.
Exactly.
But anyways, I was a rebel on that side, so I felt like I never like really fitted in school. I hated school. My parents really want me to like do well in school. So yeah, that's pretty much how I grew up. Like family values very well. I knew what I didn't want, but I was a rebel because I was like trying to figure things out pretty much.
But you went to school for engineering. And you became an engineer from an academic standpoint.
Correct. Like in college in Pucamaima in Santiago. But the way I chose electromechanical engineering was so number one, I wanted to become a professional soccer player. That was my dream.
Okay.
That's why I even started social media.
That's a big difference. Okay.
A big difference.
Okay.
Obviously, Dominican Republic is known for baseball, not soccer.
Not soccer, exactly.
You know? So I'm like, I need to get my name out there with social media to get a contract, and hopefully I'll make it. That was my current thought in like 2012, 2013.
Okay.
But my parents like, nope, you got to go to college, you got to study, you got to do this.
Again, they were holding you accountable.
Correct.
Okay.
And they knew that I had the capabilities of,
Right.
to be well at math, et cetera. So I was like, I literally looked at all the subjects, the careers. I'm like, which one I dislike the least?
Okay.
So I was like, business administration, no, that's for lazy people. That's like nothing,
No offense to those.
No offense. But like over there, at least it was like lazy.
Okay.
I hate lawyers. Like I hate reading. Like I can't read books. Like that's not for me. Doctor, I don't want to study 12 years to hopefully make something one day. It's like that's not for me, and I don't like opening people up and like watching blood.
Okay.
I don't like that.
Okay.
So the only other thing was engineering. So from all the engineerings, I was like, okay, it's like which one makes the most money, which one is like kind of cool, and that's how I decided electrical engineering.
Well, so. I actually, I'll say this. I laud your approach, because most people, especially in the United States, most people don't do that analysis to determine what it is that they're going to study. Like I have this this pet peeve with people who go to university for like what I consider to be kind of silly degrees that don't actually generate revenue, and then those are the people that also tend to rack up a significant amount of debt, and you wonder, like, you have all this debt.
Liberal arts degree.
Exactly. when you sit back and you're looking at I just don't want you to waste your time going to university. So if 100%. You're going to go to university, make sure that it's a productive use of your time. You're going to get a return on the investment that you have.
Yep.
You evaluate the degree that you're going to pursue and what is the potential outcome of income that you can expect from that particular degree.
Exactly.
And then make an informed decision regarding how much you're going to financially invest in the pursuit of that degree.
Yep.
So you've done. I actually laud the approach you took. You said, okay, what is available, what's going to make me the most money?
Yeah, I was forced to.
Okay.
So like, thank God, like I never, my parents had enough income at the time to pay for college and stuff like that. So I graduated without student debt. So I'm super grateful for that. But like, they were like, you're going to college no matter what. I'm like, oh crap. Okay, I need to choose one of these crappy subjects that I don't like, and I ended up graduating 1 year earlier because of that.
Okay.
So, because I was like, the second I got in, I'm like, how do I get out of this as soon as possible?
Okay.
So I was like taking like 25 credits per semester.
Wow.
Or something like that. So I was like,
so you were like, okay, I'm dedicated to get it done because I have to. My parents are going to make me do it, so I just want to do it as quickly as I can.
Exactly. And I was making like, the way I made money. So my parents never gave me money or allowance or anything. Like I would like have to either do chores in the house, and they would like give me something from that. But the way I actually made money, looking back, my first sales experience was my uncle. He passed away now, but my uncle lived in New Jersey.
Okay.
And he will send boxes of toys and Nintendo or whatever back to DR.
Okay.
And every Christmas. Okay. So obviously, as a kid, you use it and then you toss it in the closet.
Right.
So, but then, you're 17 or 16, you need to make money, and like, crap, like I want to get the new PlayStation or whatever the case may be, or a cell phone.
Right.
My parents are not going to buy it for me. So what I did was, over there was like eBay, but mercadolibre.com.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember.
I'm not familiar.
Okay, Mercado Libre, it's like the same thing as eBay.
Same kind of stuff. Okay.
So I would like take the stuff from my closet and put it in Mercado Libre and sell it.
Okay.
So I would like sell literally anything. Like everything in my closet I wasn't using, I would sell it in there.
I think I'm going to do a study, because every entrepreneur I meet with that has, again, attained levels of success that most aspire to, every one of us has a background in sales. We've cut our teeth in the process of selling things. So looking at that sales experience that you've been through, how would you say that that's contributed to where you are now?
I think greatly, because you lose the fear of rejection. I think that's like the main thing. Like, oh, what happens like if they say no? Like I'm honestly an introvert. Like literally, like I'm an only child. Like obviously you're an introvert because you're not surrounded by that many people. But I can become an extrovert like in this scenario. Right. So, but sales wise, I think I just lost the feeling of like, what happens if you say no? I'm like, I just don't care.
Right.
So
the way I talk about that is I want business owners to learn how to divorce themselves from the outcome and marry yourself to the process.
Exactly.
Because that's what leads to you attaining the things you want. If you're focused so much on the outcome, you that distraction can cause you to trip because you're not looking at the things that need to be done day in and day out to get to the outcome.
Yep.
There's another quote, and I don't know who said it, but I fell in love with it when I did hear it. It says, the man who loves to walk will always walk farther than the man who loves the destination.
Correct. Exactly.
And that's just an amazing thing. And the process of sales, if you become good at it, you're not concerned with actually making the sale. No. You're concerned with doing all the things that are incorporated in the process of sales.
Yeah, and servicing the prospect in the best way and helping the prospect make the best decision that it is for them, not for you.
Exactly. Because if you're diagnosing, which sales should be, you're diagnosing a current ailment in your prospect. And if you have the solution, that value add is you're morally obligated to share it. And if you don't have the solution, that's also a good thing to be able to know, because now you can say, hey, listen, I don't have the solution for you.
Correct.
But if you are someone who networks, maybe you have contacts with those that would have the solution. So there's never really a downside. A yes and a no are both great answers.
Correct.
It's the maybes that cause challenge.
I know. I'm like, let me think about it. I'm like, bro, just tell me yes or no. I'm good. Just tell me a no. And I think people are afraid to make the wrong decision, which is why they delay it.
Or they're afraid to offend.
Yeah, true.
At the end of the day, it's like for a real salesperson, again, they don't care about the yes or the no. They hate the concept of maybe, or let's reconnect, or because that takes time and then you have to follow up, etc. I love this. This is a great conversation. So when you look at your experience, then you graduated, you were in an environment where you have this degree behind you, but that's not what your passion was. No. Your passion was football, like real football, not American football.
Yeah. Like they call it soccer. I say soccer, but it's like actual football.
Yeah. That concept then led you to figure out how you can market yourself, because you didn't have access to local resources for your football desires and passions. So tell me about that process, that marketing process.
Yeah. So back in 2012, 2013, I think, the YouTube videos are still up, like Elation Football, Elation Fitness. Those are the two YouTube channels that I had. Okay. I would wake up. So this was my entire schedule. I would, Monday through Friday, obviously I had classes every single day.
Yes.
I would wake up like 7-ish. I would work a little bit or go to the internship, because you had to work at an internship to graduate or whatever. I was making like no money pretty much. I was like working in a like factory, super dirty. So I would do that. Then I would go to college, right, until like 5, 6 p.m. Okay. Then I would go play soccer. Okay. Then I had classes again at night until like 9 p.m., 10. Okay. And at 9 p.m., 10, I would go to the gym until like 12. And then at 12, that was like Monday through Friday. And then during the weekends, I would wake up early to go train in the field by myself, free kicks. I became very, very good at it. Funny side note, Google contacted me back in like 2017 or 2016, I think it was, for a video that I posted, how to bend it like Beckham, and they were going to use it on a hey Google, how do you bend it like Beckham, or how do you?
And they were going to highlight it.
Yeah, awesome. They never did, but yeah. Anyways, so I would just go train and film myself doing that. So I started
then publishing those videos.
Exactly. I studied photography, videography by myself. I was using like a little shitty camera that my dad had when he was like traveling to China. And that was like my first camera. I would use the boxes of shoes as a tripod on the field. And that was like, so
DIY it, right?
Yep, exactly. Okay. So I would just, I only had one ball also, or two. And then, so I would kick it, I would run.
Run to go get it and bring it back.
Exactly. So that was how I trained every Saturday morning. Okay. And that's what I did for years. So that was like my schedule, if you will. Okay. And that's how I started learning about social media, learning photography, learning videography, learning content creation. So today I'm able to, pick up a camera and like just shoot myself. And like, the team, like the content team that I have can't just tell me pretty much anything, because I know what to look for when framing and lighting and aperture and shutter speed and like all these different,
you know the rule of thirds and all
exactly.
that.
Exactly.
Totally get it.
Exactly. So that's like what happened back then. But it wasn't like monetization at all. Like I was just thinking growing followers on YouTube and Instagram to then hopefully get a contract because of my social media presence. Okay. That was like my train of thought the entire time. Okay. I was not thinking about money or business at all.
And how did that evolve?
So, in 2014, 2015, I moved to the United States, Indiana, Lafayette, in the middle of nowhere. It was cornfield, a pig, and nothing. So it's like literally middle of nowhere, which helped because that forced me to obviously focus on the business and what I was doing. I started playing semi-pro there, and because of my social media, I actually get the chance to be a pro.
Oh.
Yeah, through an agency that wanted to use me as a case study. They basically what they did is like they will take you and they will place you on different teams as tryouts, and then they will help you sign a contract, and then from the contract they will take a percentage, right, for X amount of time. So they wanted to use me as a case study to bring more players because obviously I started building my social media and stuff like that. That was 2016. What ended up happening was I got injured. The big toe of my left foot, I broke it. So like super tiny fracture. It was so dumb.
Still,
you can't play. So what ended up happening is the time that I was training, I started devoting in social media. And then when I recovered, it was like August 2016. I was like, all right, I can either keep pursuing soccer or keep doing this thing. And I realized the soccer life, a lot of sacrifices, very tiny money, especially in the United States, right? And I wasn't going to be Messi or Ronaldo, but I could be Messi or Ronaldo in my field. Right. So that's what I chose.
I love that. Yeah. Because you're looking at you recognize within yourself the limitations. You knew, at least you had a strong belief that you could not be the superstar here. Yeah. But you could be a superstar. It's just you had to find the right niche.
Exactly. But it was a very hard decision because I've been working for this dream for like 10 plus years by that point. Right? I was like 24, 25 at the time. And I've been working for this dream for like 10 plus years. I've broken both of my ankles playing soccer in DR. I've gotten so many injuries, you have no idea. And every single time I pushed through it, right? So by that point, I'm like, I need to decide. And most people and you see this all the time, like, oh, like follow your feet, like follow your heart. I'm like, no. like ignore your heart completely. Yeah. Because your feelings and your heart will deceive you, like 100%. Yes. And follow logic. Like just see pros and cons for each decision, evaluate upside, downside, and then just make a decision.
See, that mechanical engineering degree helped out a lot. Because that's a logical approach.
It kind of did. But I hate to admit it because I wish I would have. I am able to get those 3.5 years, 4 years back.
Oh, if only you knew what you know now and you could apply it back then. Yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah.
So you're faced with the decision: continue to pursue soccer or real football.
Yep.
Or venture in full force into social media. And you chose the latter.
Yeah. And 1 month later, September 13th, 2016, to this day, I still remember it, I got the first paying client for like $3,500 a month. It was like the most amount of money I've ever made because I was making like $300 as an engineer in DR.
Right. Yeah.
Now I make from one client for like one call a week for consulting, $3,500 a month. And that was like, it was like the CEO of like an insurance company. I have no idea why he wanted to go to social media, honestly, but back then, I'm like, he's like, how much are you going to charge me? I'm like, $3,500 a month. Like, done. Send me your PayPal. I'm like,
okay.
Crap. It's like I should have charged more.
Exactly.
So that's kind of how it happened. And then, throughout the years, like you learn, and by December 2016, January 2017, that right there, I was already in the Grant Cardone's TV show. I got featured in there twice, and things started growing like very, very quickly. But it wasn't easy. So,
But I think that's also an interesting point because a lot of people do look at individuals like yourself, and they find you on Instagram, they find you on TikTok or whatever, and they say, wow, this guy had some overnight success. And
I wish.
It wasn't overnight, right? I mean, it's years in the making for that overnight success to have happened.
Yeah.
But you did land some interesting opportunities early on in that career journey.
Yeah.
How did that shape where you are today, like that opportunity?
A ton. So, I had no money for ads. Right. So it was like, for me, it was organic networking events, and just belly to belly, as they call it. By the way, side note, throughout this entire time, I was on a student visa. I was a student.
In the U.S. at the time.
Correct. Because, how are you going to get from DR to the United States?
You have
legally, at least, right? Yeah. You can do a bunch of ways, legally. Yeah. So, throughout this entire time,
you're student visa.
Yeah. So, today, I have 2 master's degree and an associate's degree, too. So, when they talk to, when the college thing, when they talk to me, it's like, oh, no, college. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, you're talking to somebody who has 4 degrees.
Exactly.
No. It's like college is like, if you want to make money, is like the worst decision you can possibly make, period. If you want to be a lawyer, engineer, doctor.
There are definitely some specialized areas that you do need to go through that, only because that field requires it.
Exactly.
But if your goal, your outcome is to have fulfillment in life, it doesn't necessitate a degree to do that.
At all. No.
But it does require some money. I mean, money isn't the most important thing in the world, but it impacts everything that is. Yeah. It impacts your ability to eat the way you want to eat, go and visit the places you want to visit, impacts the community in which you live, the education that you can have access to for you and your family, healthcare. I mean, it definitely impacts everything that is important.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So, anyways, what ended up happening, like the way everything grew was, like I said, belly to belly networking events. So 2016, that year I bought a course in their community, started going social media. That's how I became, quote unquote, the Instagram guy. Okay. 2017 comes, I launched a course, I thought it was a failure because my perspective, I did like $20,000 in the first 24 hours. But for me, it was like, it was supposed to be $100,000. It didn't. So I was like, it was a failure. Anyways, so 2016, we did like between 2016 and 2017, we did like $150,000. Okay. I had a partner at the time, separated. That was very sour and weird. So everything went down in July the next year. So in a year, I went from
that's 18.
That was 2017. So between 2016 to 2017. Okay. So summer between the 2 years. That year, it was going up and then
it
down.
Fell right off the cliff. Okay.
Yeah. And then what changed a lot of the game for me was networking events, like I told you. So I went to the ClickFunnels event in Boise, Idaho, where they did the bubble soccer. I don't know if you know.
Yeah,
like,
I saw it.
Bubble soccer, Guinness World Record. So I have a Guinness World Record today because of that. Okay. But that event, I met a ton of people. Right. And literally what I would do in that event, I would just go to people like, hey, nice to meet you. My name is Josue Pena. I do XYZ. Well, they're happy to help you. And I will do work for free. So I met Lady Boss, Penju. Like, I met all the top dogs in the ClickFunnels community in that event, but nothing happened. I also, nothing happened, but zero. But I established a great relationship. Months later, in now 2018 comes right before the ClickFunnels event. I think it was like March or February.
Yeah, okay. Before the Funnel Hacking Live, you mean?
Yeah, before Funnel Hacking Live. Brandon Poulin from Lady Boss calls me. He's like, hey, we're going on this cruise. You should come. Okay. By that point, by the way, I'm making like $4,000 a month net profit. Like nothing. Okay. Yeah. So he's like, you should come. I'm like, okay. Cruise is $4,000. Yeah. I'm like
my entire profit.
Yeah, crap. Okay. All right, let's screw it. I'm living with my parents in Indiana. I got very tiny expenses. Let's do it. So I go there, make great relationship with them. Then go to the ClickFunnels event, met Hormozy, met all those guys. All the real, right? Yeah. And then it just snowballed. So Lady Boss became a client, got great success for them. Then Hormozy started consulting with him. I spoke at his event. Then Alex Becker. Then yada, yada, yada. Like by September of the same year, we did over $1 million in process. Wow. So January to September, 9 months, I went from $4,000 or $10,000 or whatever it was to over $1 million in collected.
So let's unpack that for a minute. So you had this major fall off with regard to the one exiting a partnership environment. So your major fall off in income. So that you started hitting some lows then, obviously, in your business mentality, et cetera. What gave you the inspiration to say, hey, listen, you know what? I'm going to put myself out there. I'm going to spend my $4,000, the only $4,000 I have. I'm going to go to this event. What was it about that?
I mean, so
was it who was asking you, or was
Yeah, it was definitely who was asking, because it was like a nobody. I would have said no, right? It was who's asking and who was going to the cruise. Okay, right? It was a full week cruise. The way I saw it, was I'm going to be able to make great friendships in here, great networking, and at least something is going to rub off. At least something, right? So that's what I thought back then. And I was like, my expenses are pretty much zero because I'm living with my parents in Indiana. Right. So it doesn't matter. It's whatever. Let's just do it. And that was my whole train of thought. It was pretty easy decision in my opinion. It was okay. Very tiny expenses. He's invited me. They're dope people. At least I'm going to learn something, right? For some reason, they're inviting this random Dominican kid that makes little tiny money compared to they were already making $5 to $10 million a year at that point. Yeah. Now they're making 70 or whatever it was. Yeah. So
a little more than that.
Yeah. I think. So back then they were on the come up. So I'm like, I need to get on this cruise no matter what. Right. So that's kind of how it happened. It was a pretty easy decision in my opinion.
Now, what was your process for actually making those connections when you were on the cruise? Did you have did you go in with a game plan? Like,
so I met the connections in the Boise event.
okay,
right.
So this was at the Guinness Book of World
Yeah,
Records.
yeah. I stayed in a random tiny Airbnb in a couch, like literally, because I couldn't afford more, like a nice hotel. But I met those connections there, and then literally I would just go out. I would just give value for free. I will help people for free, like as much as I could, and that's it. And they saw that I was good at what I was talking about, which was Instagram, right?
And I think that's also an important point. You led with value.
Correct.
I mean, Hormozy talks about doing this all the time nowadays, but you did it back then. You're like, listen, I have this opportunity to potentially share my wisdom with you that could change the course of what you're doing.
Exactly.
Let me do that. Share your wisdom. Give an opportunity to let people know that you know what you're talking about, and then things snowball from there.
Exactly.
When you look at that experience, then would you say that was the transition point for you?
One of them, for sure.
Okay.
Because I realized like the people, I had to get in the right circle of the right people that had the money to pay me, right, and that I can easily deliver results for.
Right.
That was it. Because like back then, I only knew how to grow. Like I knew how to like bring a ton of traffic to you, but if you had a good conversion system, you'll make a ton of money. Right. If you didn't, then
it was just have a lot of traffic.
Exactly. So obviously Alex Becker, Lady Boss, all these guys had a great sales system, which is why they made a ton of money. And I have video testimonials from them. So that helped tremendously. And I knew that that was the best marketing because they had no money for ads. It's like,
right.
You know, so that was my whole train of thought pretty much.
Okay. So you said that was one of your pivotal moments. What was the second?
So 2018 comes, right? $1 million. I'm balling, spending it all pretty much. Very dumb, like super dumb. I'm like, look back, I'm like, geez, I was straight up dumb. Yeah. Right. Because like, and then I mean, you're making $100,000 net profit a month, and in like 9 months, like you're 25 at the time.
Right. You don't know anything about money at this point.
No.
Financial literacy wasn't there.
Yeah. I'm making in like, I don't know, a couple months what my entire dad did in his entire career. Yeah. Right. So I had no idea how to manage this money. Right. And my parents were really never approved of the online business, and they really never believed it. Anyways, so 2019 comes, and that was, everything went down again. So that year I made a lot of bad business decisions, got hugely in debt as well, because I was like, split my focus, try to do a bunch of stuff all at the same time, and it went down like hardcore. And that year also, because of everything that was happening and my status with student visa, whatever, I started also working at a gas station.
Really?
Yeah.
So you went from making 7 figures,
correct,
to working in a gas station
as a cashier for 8 to 9 hours a day, standing.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So it was tough. It was like my face was breaking out, like stress all over. It was, and most people don't know this. I'm just starting to share this like now. Right. But back then it was extremely tough. I mean, like you're in the top of the world, literally the top of the world, and then you lose everything. And obviously a lot of people make fun of me. I was posted all over the social media or Instagram, as I say. I was like, oh, this guy like making all this money, now he's working at a gas station, but they didn't know the background of everything. Right. So back then I knew who the real people were and who wasn't. Okay. Right. Like who's ride or die. Right. Who's like an actual real friend and who's just in here for what I have. Yeah. So it was a very tough lesson. Like 2019, my uncle that I was just talking about like in a second, like passed away. Then COVID happens 2020. Oh yeah. So my grandfather passed away in DR. And then my fiance dumps me back then a week later. Oh my goodness. So like, I mean, I'm working at a gas station after losing everything. I'm in debt over $500,000, right? Uncle passed away, grandfather passed away, fiance dumped me a week later. Oh my goodness. Yeah. And I'm like bottom of the bed. I was actually suicidal too. So I had to go like psychiatrist, medication, like all that stuff. That's like not fun and nice to talk about. I was there. Okay. And my face like was breaking with acne because of all the stress. Yeah. And like people will like, make comments like, oh, still try to show up and do videos and all that stuff. And people were like, oh, like get freaking Accutane, like get a pomade, like, the trolls on the internet.
Yeah, people can be cruel when they're behind a keyboard and an
keyboard warriors. Yeah. Exactly. So anyways, that's what happened. I got screwed over by different JV deals. I lost, like in 2019, I lost a huge contract, over 7-figure contract. They stole it from me. Like it was brutal. like in 2020 and 2019. Now, July 2020, working at a gas station, middle COVID, right? A couple of friends moved to Miami to Porsche Sand Tower. By that, I'm living in Davie.
So you're still
I'm living in
you
Davie.
had already moved to Davie.
Yeah, I've already moved to Davie in 2019, right? And I'm living in a friend's house, like in a closet. It's like literally in a tiny library / closet. That's where I'm living.
Okay.
So, and then a couple of friends moved to Porsche Sand Tower, and they're like, look, we have a extra bedroom. You should stay. But rent is $15K a month. $15K a month. Split 3. That's $5K a month.
$5K a month for what?
All I've saved up throughout that year is $15,000 from the gas station.
Oh wow.
So my decision making. I'm like, $15,000 is no money. Like if you have $15,000 saved up, like that's nothing. Like just invest to figure out like how to multiply. Like I'm like, okay, number one, $15,000 is no money. I already made $1 million. This is nothing, right? That's number two. Number two, I'm already bottom of the barrel. Like I'm already down. I can't go any further than this. So I'm like, all right, whatever. It's like I got 2 months to figure it out. That's because like obviously $5K a month in rent plus utilities, whatever. It's like it's $6 to $7K after everything's accounted for. I'm like, at least I have 2 months in Porsche Sand Tower, one of the most beautiful buildings in Miami, living with celebrities like Maluma, Anuel, and all this stuff. I'm like, at least I have 2 months to live life and at least get out of the environment I'm in right now.
Right.
And I'm glad I did that because like the reality is that your environment plays a bigger role than you think.
Oh, it's
like you can't.
It's a pivotal role.
Yeah, you can't fight. It's like, I mean, you can, but it's like so hard to fight against your environment. It's almost impossible. So I changed that July 2020, end of July. By end of August, business was already doing $89,000 a month. Like in 30 days.
Okay. Still in the same environment. Still doing agency-oriented work.
Yeah, agency-oriented, Instagram guy, like focus there. Like I was good at what I did, right? But I didn't have the environment to be able that allowed me to do that. So I left the gas station because obviously you're working 9 hours a day.
Right.
You don't have any energy after that. So left all that stuff. Moved to Porsche Sand Tower. Huge rent, obviously. But in a month, things started picking back up. $89,000 in sales, like $50,000 collected. Things were starting to like pick back up. By the end of that year, it was doing over $100,000 a month. Right, end of 2020. 2021 comes. Things started snowballing from there. Okay. But I'm still a student.
Yeah.
So I'm still going to college throughout that entire time.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So what would be, if you had to look back on it, like what was the thing that gave you the best opportunity to make the business a success when you ventured back into it? So again, having the fall off in the business, having some challenging relationships business-wise, getting into an environment where you hit back to rock bottom, $15,000 left, let me invest that. What was the business thing you did that caused the catalyst to make money again? So
it was the same thing I was doing before. Okay. So I think that what I've realized throughout my entire career is anytime I try to do or try to step out of my lane or like try to defocus from my main thing, things just go south, extremely quickly. So that's what I realized. So I'm like, all right, let me just go back to what made me money.
Okay.
It's pretty
agency
logical.
Oriented.
Yeah, agency, Instagram, growing and monetization. Like just helping personal brands
do that,
grow and scale their following and monetize their following. That's it. Okay. Right. So that's what I did. Okay. And that's what started like picking like steam back up again. So
what about from a business operations standpoint? Was this still just you doing it? Did you start to expand at that point?
I had team members like during COVID, and I didn't want to fire them because like they depended on me. I had like maybe like 3 or 4 between like overseas and 1 or 2 in the United States. Okay. So I didn't want to like let them go because I was in the middle of COVID. Yeah. I feel bad. I never got PPP. Oh, right. I've never got.
You were a student visa. You couldn't.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I never got any assistance. And also, by the way, Josue is making no money. By the way, because as a student, you can't take any money. Like you can't work.
Yep.
So Anyways, so that's entire thing is happening. And I didn't want to fire them because like their livelihood depended on me. So that was a huge pressure point as well back then. So I mean, I just went back to what was working before. It's like, how did I make the first $1 million? Instagram. I'm the Instagram guy. Like in the ClickFunnels event when I got the award, they were like, the Instagram guy, like that's me, you. Right? So I'm like, right, I'm just gonna do that. Let me focus on here. And it worked really well because obviously, because of my focus on there throughout the years, people just see me as the main guy for this stuff.
Right.
And I was the first one in that specific industry or ecosystem that did anything Instagram related.
Right.
So Instagram stories, shout outs, like all the things that are popular today in like our niche or like our little thing, our pond. I was the first one who pioneered that. Yeah. Exactly. And I just went back to that.
Okay.
So that's how things started picking back up and growing, and
So as we ventured into now 2021 and 2022, what was the transition like for you? So
I obviously started, like, I was doing everything like delivery, like all that stuff. Yeah. So I started hiring people. Okay. In September, October 2020, September, October, I started hiring people.
Okay, so leveraging labor.
Exactly, leveraging labor, correct.
Okay.
And then 2021 was a year like things started like rocket fueling upwards. Okay. So that year, I think we ended the year with like 2 million plus in sales.
But what was it that caused that rocket
focus?
Fuel?
Focus.
Just focus.
Focus.
Okay.
Focus. Just focusing on one thing and doing that one thing exceptionally well. And that was it.
And was it specifically your ability to tell others of what you were doing? Like what was it that caused you to take it to the next level?
So talking to the right people, like the avatar, right? So like my main niche in online sales is like talking to business owners, like helping them, their following, and monetize that. Like how do we structure that in a good way that's flows? Okay. Right. So that's what I did. Just focus on that one specific thing, and it just grew super, super quick. So and back then, like even ending of 2020, beginning of 2020, I wasn't running any ads. No. At all.
It was all organic.
All organic. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So
so you went from a few $100,000 to $2 million with no advertising?
So no, by the end of 2021, we did 2 million in 2021. 2020 we did like 700K.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So but 2020 was no ads. 2021 was with ads.
Okay.
But it was still the network.
But like still 0 to 700,000 with just organic is amazing.
Yeah. So, but again, like I've built a personal brand, and the main thing I think helped me tremendously is like even though I was working at a gas station, nobody knew that. Like very few people knew about it. But then I was still helping, like providing value, doing what I was good at, right, to business owners and other people. So that created obviously value in the marketplace. My personal brand was intact. My name was intact. Obviously, with the testimonials that I have and the background that I have, is very easy to ramp it up again as you launch it. So that's what I did. Okay, more than anything.
What would you say then is the next step for you?
So right now, so 2021 happened. Great year. We went from like 89K to 100K to like 200 plus, 250 plus, 300. Peak month was like 400 to 500. Okay. So now what we're doing is software. So I think that is the next big move. So well, software, any type of SaaS gets you into that monthly recurring revenue. Exactly.
So that's a huge win. MRR is definitely where like the smart business player is playing an MRR. Yeah. So if you're focusing on SaaS, like what's going on with your agency then?
No, it's still going. Okay. Still going right now.
You've put the right systems in place and the right people in place.
But I've separated. So what I realized too is like everybody was coming to me and expecting me to do the thing. I'm like, that can't happen. Like it has no equity, has no value as a company, and that can't happen. So now I've separated things where eScaler is the agency, and I'm just a personal brand. Like all I say is that eScaler is providing services for.
Right. Okay.
So that's how I've structured it, where eScaler is the one providing all the services, everything.
I love that.
And then only sales is like courses and coaching and whatever.
I talk with business owners all the time and try to help them to understand that you can't be the one who's doing, because if you are, there is no real
There's
value.
a bottleneck. Like at the beginning, 100% yes, you have to do it.
Oh, absolutely, because you need to be the one who actually builds out the business and understand how the business operates, et cetera. But you're going to get to a point where you need to make a decision to say, hey, listen, this is the amount of money I've been compensating myself to run my business. Now that's the pool of money in which I can hire others to do it.
Exactly.
Because if you build your business the right way with regard to profit in mind and having planned, predictable profit in place before each dollar is even earned, you can organize it in such a way to be able to afford to replace yourself.
Yep.
And when you're no longer working in the business and now you can focus on working on the business, that's what takes you truly to that next level and gives you the freedom to explore other revenue streams, which is what you're doing now.
Exactly. And I think I was a mistake I did hugely. Even though I have 2 MBA degrees and all this stuff, is not tracking what the dollar went.
Yeah.
It's like
it's not just a mistake you make. Not all, but so many business owners make this mistake because I talk about the fact that you don't know unless you look. You have to look at your numbers. You have to understand where the dollars, how the dollars are coming in, but even more importantly, how the dollars are going out.
Exactly, because it's surprisingly easy to make a lot of money, and you'll see how surprisingly easy it is to spend the money too.
Yeah.
In 2018, when it went to $1 million, literally all my thought was like, okay, statement end of the month, I have 10 grand in the bank. Okay, cool. Next month I want 20. That was my train of thought.
Yeah,
that was it.
Okay.
But
how much did I keep?
Yeah,
because it's net, not gross, that matters.
Exactly. But I wasn't tracking where the money was going. I wasn't tracking what I was spending. I wasn't tracking what like actual net, like what's my cost of goods sold. Like I wasn't tracking anything.
Any of that.
And that was a big mistake. And that changed in January 2021. And I think that helped me because like 2020, I'm just focusing on making money. And then I realized, okay, like money's going out. I need to like figure something out. And I'm good. I could figure that out, but my focus is sales and marketing. I can't do delivery and also operations. So I ended up just hiring somebody from Upwork and just training them and just creating this like insane system in the back end where every single penny is tracked every single day from in and out.
I'm a numbers guy.
Yep.
I'm a huge money guy.
Yep.
So when it comes down to it, understanding what your numbers are and how healthy they are, it gives you so much insight into making the right decisions at the right time.
Yep.
I run up against business owners all the time who's like, I'm going to hire these people. Well, have you done the analysis to determine can you afford the hire? What's the return on investment on those hires?
Yep.
Understanding what your metrics are so that you can evaluate whether or not it was a good hire 3 months in. Like all of that information, that data is so critical because you in your career, I know that you've run up against this too with business owners who are business owners by default. They're not really business owners. They're job owners. They own a job. Maybe they own an income stream because they're doing something that's generating some income, but that doesn't make them a business owner. No. If you want to be a business owner, you should be able to tell me, well, what's your profit this month? What's your profit going to be next month? What is your predictable profit going to be based on a formula? Exactly.
Like sales, cash collected, MRR, commissions to sales reps, advertising spend, net profit.
Exactly.
Fixed expenses, variable expenses, cost of goods sold, all that stuff.
Yeah, like customer acquisition costs, all of those things.
Yep.
Yeah, understanding those metrics is important. But now you know that, you've learned it, you've gone through those life lessons. You got to a point in January, you said 2021, where you started to say, hey, listen, I need to pay attention to my numbers.
Yep.
You did that. 21 was then a success because of that. You're keeping much more of every dollar that you're making. 2022 is also following that route, right?
Yep.
So
correct.
If you look then with SaaS being a huge focus for you going forward, what does the next 5 years look like for you?
So goal eventually is to get to 50 to 100 million like as an enterprise. So that's and I've seen this like a bunch of different just talk to different people and honestly is the fastest way to do that is software like by far. The reason why I got into that is because I talked to this kid, his name is Ian, and he bought my Instagram course back in 2017, 2018. He bought that one and a dropshipping course, and he couldn't figure it out. He couldn't figure out how to do that. And then he went on to build two 9-figure software companies.
Oh my goodness.
And he's 21. I'm like, time out. Wait, time out. Okay. You couldn't figure out my course, how to do this, but then you went out to building not one, but two. He exited the first one, and then he's building the second one. 9-figure companies. Wow. And you're 21, 22. All right, I'm doing something wrong. And I think the vehicle that I chose, it's great for cash cow. Like, you create insane skills, sales, marketing, all that stuff. Yes. But now that I have this skill set, I can just transfer it to this better vehicle, and you're not going to be able to compete. Like a Toyota will never beat a Ferrari, period. Yeah. So just the engine is different. So the vehicle matters a ton, but your skill sets matter even more while you're in the vehicle. So that's why I chose and dove into software. It's so hard, though, to build. Like, it's so money intensive. You need to spend a bunch of money and stuff like that. So, and I think, so the combination of the payment processor and the software is what gives insane enterprise value. So you see, for example, Airbnb. Airbnb at the beginning was just, hey, you book it and then you transact in person, cash or whatever. when they added the payment processor, the company just skyrocketed.
Went through the roof.
Exactly. So that's ultimately what we want as well, where the payment processor aspect of things for online businesses, e-courses, e-commerce, etc. This Stripe will shut you down in an instant. Yeah. They have no support. Yeah. Most payment processors suck. Or they charge you a buttload of fees that you have no idea what the hell they are. So that's where we come in. We're like, no, like this is fully transparent. This is like the fee. We beat anything out there in the market, and then we also provide you with the platform to support the growth.
Wow.
Because and I'm lucky, I think, that I met Anthony Powell, who's the actual mastermind behind it. Because like he's been in the business for like 25 years, but he comes from like the multi-level network marketing world. He sold like $2 billion plus worth of Herbalife with LMS and systems and funnels back before it was cool or before it was fun. So he comes from that world and brings all that experience and stuff like that onto this. And like, I'm like, bro, like just let me front it. Like, let me just push hard. Yeah. And just make sure that the system works properly.
Back end. Exactly.
So that I think is a very beautiful partnership. Like it complements each other very well. And then we have the agency where it's like, cool, like you can have the software if you want to do it yourself, or the agency can just full service, will do everything for you, either for an upfront fee or a profit share, or a combination of the two. And then I have my personal brand as well that can just keep growing, and it fuels everything else. So that's like the three different elements.
Yeah, the three legs of an amazing stool. That just gets you to a point where you have true financial freedom.
Exactly. And like my goal eventually is like, let's just say we exit tomorrow, like the agency and the software for 100 million plus or whatever it is, right? What I'm going to do next. Right. So like, that's why I want to keep my personal brand separated from everything, because that then creates enterprise value that has its own value. Yes. And if I exit tomorrow, I can still keep my main thing and keep running the thing I'm doing. Because the beauty about a personal brand is like it will always be with you until the day you die.
Exactly.
And you can pivot, you can do a bunch of stuff, and people will always follow your personal brand. Like, and I can everything can go to zero tomorrow, and just my personal brand alone will sustain me. And I've experienced it twice.
Yeah. I was just gonna say that has happened.
That has happened twice. Okay. So and I've been able to build back up because of that. Okay. So I think it's hard. It's not easy. It's not overnight. But if you're able to do that, then you're literally set for life. Wow. So that's ultimately kind of like the master plan, if you will.
I'm looking forward to seeing how this unfolds.
Yeah.
In the months and years ahead.
Yeah. Hopefully it works out well, or it's going to be a big failure, and I will just come back here and say, like, look, it was a failure. This was the lessons, and that's it.
No worries. You're always going to be welcome back.
Yeah.
One of the things I like to do is every time I bring a guest on here, I like to go through a little bit of a mental exercise. If you would indulge me, I'd love to take you on this journey.
For sure.
I want you to imagine for a moment that you have an ability to go back in time, and you're going to go back in time to visit a younger version of you, and you're going to be able to share just one thing with that younger version of you. What I'd like to know is, what version do you go back to, and what is it that you share?
I would go back to Josue in the second he moved to Indiana.
Okay.
I was 21, 22 at the time.
Okay.
Just got to Indiana. And the thing I would tell him is forget about growing followers and content. Focus on sales. Focus on where the money's at. That's what I would do. Okay. Even though Josue at that time, his dream is to be a pro.
Right.
At the end of the day, professional teams is all a business. It's like they're thinking, I signed this player is very good, will win me this trophy will make X amount of money, this player will sell X amount of tickets, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
So like if you think of it, generation.
Exactly. If you think from a marketing and sales perspective, not just growing the audience, then ultimately, even if I wanted to become a professional soccer player, I would be a much more successful soccer player, even though I might not be the best on the field, but I'm a better money kind of So that's what I would tell 21, 22 Josue. Just moved to the States, doesn't know anybody in Indiana, cold AF, like Indiana is cold.
Especially this time of year.
Yeah, so that's what I would tell him. I was like, focus on sales and figure out a way where you can make money online very quickly. There's tons of ways.
Yes.
And just use and focus on sales and marketing. Build those skill sets instead of growing the following.
Love that. I do have a second portion of this particular journey. I want you to imagine then a future version of Josue comes here to sit with us in this moment, in this section of time, and he's going to share one thing with you. What does he share?
Future Josue. What does he share? That is a great question. Let me think about that for a second. That I have no idea because I don't know what future Josue is going to think.
Okay.
Maybe the decisions I'm making right now for the business are very stupid or they're very great.
Okay.
I don't know. But yeah, that's a great question.
Okay.
So
I love stumping you guys. I love it. Okay.
I have no idea. Jeez.
Well,
you caught me off guard there.
No worries.
So, yeah, I mean, like, I would just say maybe future Josue is thinking more, if future Josue knows the lottery numbers, I would say that.
Okay. Share with you the quick win.
The lottery numbers, I'm just kidding. But, like, I'm sure it will be more investment, focus on investing more money.
Okay.
And already doing that, but, like, focus even more on that.
Okay.
Because, as you know, recession is getting worse and worse and worse, and whoever has cash in hand and good credit is going to be able to reap opportunities over the years to come. So I think that will be the advice that future Josue will say. Like, focus on keeping as much cash in hand, credit, build it, and invest as much money as possible.
That's excellent.
I think that might be what Josue would say.
Any period of economic upheaval creates opportunity.
Right.
Those opportunities can add zeros to your net worth.
Exactly.
If you're poised to seize them.
Exactly. Or just tell me who's going to win from Argentina and France, and I will I'll bet all the money I have right now and just,
Okay.
or that.
So a younger version of Josue got some nuggets of wisdom. The current version of Josue is getting some nuggets of wisdom, but I don't want the audience to feel left out. So if you could share one thing with the audience that you think could add significant value to their life in this moment, what is it that you would want to share?
I would share a couple things.
Okay.
One is have standards and boundaries. So back in and I forgot about this. Back in 2021, 2022, I was able to go through a process like immigration wise where I didn't have to get a student visa.
Oh, okay.
And because of fear and stupid lawyer, whatever they said, I had to go student route, but I would have been able to get the green card a lot sooner than what I have now. I have the green card today. So I would just say never make decisions based on fear.
Okay.
Be logic.
That's hugely important.
Yeah. Be logical, but never make decisions based on fear from anybody that tells you anything. I would like there's relationships before in my life that I literally felt palpitations on my chest as I was speaking because like they were speaking like screaming like all these different things. So I would say never make a decision based on fear.
Okay.
That's number one. Two is make sure that you have boundaries.
Okay.
It's like you need like a line. Do not cross it, even if you offend the other person, no matter what. That's for anything, business, personal, love life, all that stuff, right? But then from a business perspective, I would say 3 things that changed my life is like one skill set, like develop a skill that's valuable to the market, right? Focus on that skill. Don't try to deviate. As you see, a lot of ups and downs in my journey, and it's all because I lost focus from my one main thing.
Right.
Or my one main skill, right? That's there. And then 2 is networking. So like go to as much networking events as you can. If you don't have the money, here's a little hack. If you want to go to the ClickFunnels event, the tickets are $1,000, right? Traffic and funnels, like traffic and conversions, same thing. Just go to the bar.
Yeah.
Just
hang out at the bar.
Just get a ticket, same hotel, stay in the same hotel. That's extremely important.
Yeah.
Stay in the same hotel or an Airbnb that's like walking distance and just go to the bar. Network. Like most people will not go even, like not most people, some people, especially the big dogs, will not go even into the event itself.
Every session, right, exactly.
They will just hang around and network in the bar and stuff like that, and you'll be able to talk to people. And that's how I got most of the clients at the beginning, especially.
Interesting.
So I would like networking is like those 2 things, like skill, focus on that skill that you become very, very good, and then network with people that you can provide that skill to. And where are those people? Typically conferences, networking events. And if you can't afford it, just buy a flight, $50 a night, $20 a night on a couch, Airbnb it, and just go to the freaking bar and just talk to people and give value for free. Get their contact number. Do not try to sell in the event.
Exactly.
Do not try to sell in the event. Just on your notes, on your phone, write their name, phone number, email, and then follow up the next week and just get them on a call to just help them for free again, because you're a nobody right now.
Right, exactly.
Just help them for free for 14 days, 30 days, whatever it is, and then like that's gonna build a lot of momentum. It sucks. It's a lot of hard work, but it's how I did it.
Yeah,
you know, and I mean,
and it worked.
It worked.
So at the end of the day, those who are watching could say, "Hey, listen, if I want to shortcut my journey is still going to be long because every journey is. But if you want to shortcut it, just listen to the nuggets of wisdom you just dropped.
Yeah,
and put it into practice.
Yeah, and I think there's multiple ways of doing it. Like obviously, there's more ways to skin a cat and like most path to Rome. But like if you literally have no money, like nothing, develop a skill and do that. Or obviously you can do it online. Like I was living in Indiana in the middle of nowhere.
Exactly.
Like I was networking in Facebook groups. That's what I was doing, right? That's how I started meeting all these people. And like when I met in person, they already kind of knew who I was. And there was like already a trust factor built.
Yes.
So you can also do that online. So just develop a skill and focus on it, and then network. Those three things will change the life of every single person. So.
That's why I just want to say thank you. What you've shared right now and throughout the entire episode has been amazing. I just truly appreciate you. I'm so thankful you're on here. It's been amazing. It's been amazing. Guys, you've just watched another amazing episode of Entrepreneur Unleashed. I know you've loved it, so go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. It's not going to just help me, it's also going to help you because you're going to be telling the algorithm exactly what type of information you want to be shown. I wish you well in your journey. My name is Edward Collins, and this has been Entrepreneur Unleashed. Be well. Bye for now.
Bye.
Jose, thank you so much.
Sure.
That's been awesome. And your journey is really, really cool. I mean,
appreciate it.
The ups, the downs, the ups, the downs, and the ups again. Wow.
Yeah, looking back, it's